Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the rebirth of Westside Courts, which was the second oldest public housing development in San Francisco, but also one of the most stable communities in San Francisco. And we're here to celebrate today a new life, and you're going to hear more about what that's about today. My name is Bill Whitty. I'm Chairman and CEO of Related California, and on behalf of our partner Tabernacle CDC, who you'll hear from, and Related, we welcome you. Without further ado, I'm honored to introduce someone who in fact needs no introduction. The first African-American woman mayor of San Francisco, but more importantly, a person who is of, by, and for this community, the leader not only of this community, but of the whole city, our once and future mayor, Honorable London Breed.
Hello, everyone. Thank you all so much for being here. And first of all, I just want to say to the people who live in Westside Courts, congratulations. This is truly your victory. And I know we're going to be swearing in the resident council here today, and Mr. Street is not able to join us, the president, but we have the resident council here, so we'll get to that in just a moment. I just want to start by saying, you know, this is pretty amazing. I grew up, as many of you probably know, in the Western Addition community, and I grew up in public housing in Plaza East, and the conditions of Plaza East for over 20 years of my life where I lived were similar to the conditions that exist right here in Westside Courts before this renovation. And when I first became supervisor, I met with Mayor Ed Lee and talked to him about public housing and why we weren't meeting our obligation as a city to invest in public housing in a way that would allow people to live in dignity. It was very personal for me because of my own personal experience and frustration. And so nothing was more important to me than trying to focus on making the kinds of changes that will better the conditions of the people who live here. Mayor Lee agreed, and we worked really hard. And the RAD program is something, when Olson Lee was director of the Mayor's Office of Housing, we brought that idea to the community. And a lot of folks were apprehensive, of course, because commitments had been made in the past, but the follow-through has not happened. But because of that work, I'm so really proud that we are renovating over 3,500 public housing units all over the city and changing really the conditions of how people live. And again, some of the basic things that so many people take for granted. Because I understand what it feels like to live in a community where sometimes the windows are broken and the heat doesn't work and the water doesn't work and the toilet is stopped up, and we never even had showers at Plaza East, and the roaches and the pest and all the stuff that really frustrated me to no end, I know has frustrated so many of the residents who lived here for years. So this is really about keeping a promise to change the conditions of a number of public housing units throughout San Francisco so that the residents truly feel not only respected, but they know that they are truly an important part of the city and county of San Francisco as a whole. So many people helped to contribute to making this happen, and I know that one of those persons, sadly, is not here with us today. Michael Palmer, who worked for the Mayor's Office of Housing, was a real advocate for something that I also cared about, and that was making sure that we weren't displacing the residents while we did the construction work so that people felt like we weren't trying to push them out, and his work around understanding construction and combining that with his understanding and love for people really made a difference, not only in this project, but in so many projects throughout the city that we are rehabbing. And so I know Michael's family is here with us today, and I'd ask you all to please stand and be acknowledged. And thank you for coming. this place belongs to the community. And I just wanted to also take this opportunity to thank so many people who made this possible. And in fact, I'm glad we didn't give Todd Clater a heart attack, because he was the one who, with the Tabernacle, along with Reverend McCrae, who spends so many hours working with the residents in this community. And I want to thank Tabernacle. I want to thank Related, the project manager for this project. I want to thank Bank of America for not only investing in this project, but continuing to invest in other rehabilitation projects throughout our city. And I want to thank the Mayor's Office of Housing so much. This was really a partnership. Along with our spiritual leaders in the community, Reverend Arnold Townsend and Reverend Amos Brown, thank you for continuing to make sure that the community takes front and center in any of these projects that we have worked on to rehabilitate. And I also would like to acknowledge our new California State Treasurer, Fiona Ma, who is joining us here today. Thank you so much. Oh, her office provided the tax credits. Thank you so much. Without those tax credits, we wouldn't be able to do this project. And again, it takes a village. It was a lot of hard work. And I think about on today, along with so many of the projects that I've been able to attend a lot of these events as soon as I'm asked. I'm right there because I'm so happy. I feel like this is happening to me. I feel like, this is something that I would have liked to have happened to me when I was growing up, in Plaza East. But at this time, I'm so grateful that it's happening for the residents here at Westside Courts. It means a lot. And it did take a village. And so I want to thank, I know Royal and the folks who painted from this neighborhood, and so many other incredible people who came together to really provide, this community with a place that they so deserve. And we know that there is a lot more work to do. And when I think about today, I really think about Mayor Ed Lee, and something he would always say, it's not just about making new promises, it's about keeping old promises. And today we keep a promise to this community to not only invest in the place that they live, but continue to provide programming and resources and other things that will not only support this community, but will make sure that this community thrives. So at this time, on behalf of the City and County of San Francisco, I would like to honor the members of the Tenant Association and thank you for your commitment and your leadership. And I want to also say to all the residents here, they are volunteers working on your behalf. And at this time, we would like to swear them in. So come on up. So Jonathan Street is not with us today, unfortunately. He's the new president, and he's not feeling well. But we have Joe Bullocks, am I saying your name right, Joe? And Cassandra Bennett, Randy Walton, and Mary Jones. They are going to be sworn in, and really excited to administer the oath of office. So let's do it at this time. Whose microphone is that? All right, are we ready? Yeah. So please raise your right hand and repeat after me. And and state your name. I, do solemnly swear to uphold the office for which I have been elected. I promise to be committed to the rules and policies established by the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development in conjunction with the San Francisco Housing Authority, the Westside Courts, Lease and Housing Rules, and the Westside Courts Tenant Association bylaws. to enhance and increase the quality of life to the residents and to the work in a cooperative manner with the San Francisco Housing Authority, the City and County of San Francisco, and the Westside Courts ownership, and property management, as well as other community partners. I take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and swear that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter. Congratulations. All right, congratulations. Thank you all so much for being here today. This is the new Tenant Council, and they will serve this community. Let's give them all the support that they need to succeed. Thank you all so much.
Good afternoon. My name is Randy Walton. I am the treasurer of the Westside Tenant Association. I am the treasurer now. I was the vice president, but today I'm the treasurer, and I welcome you all. And I just want to let you know that this is a journey that we're on, and we all take it highly seriously. And I want to say from I didn't have a chance to think about this, write a speech or anything, because I was asked to do this at the last moment. And so I'm speaking from the heart to let you know that Westside Courts, to me, is like, it's amazing, because when I first came here, it was nothing like this. And I came from Southern California. This is my first time ever living in a housing project when I came to San Francisco. And I had a lot of fear and a lot of apprehension about it. And the manager that was here at the time told me that it had changed a lot. It wasn't the same violent place that it supposedly once been. And I've seen it grow from that point on to now, you know, and it's really a safe and a great place to live, you know. And the council here behind me, we've all had our struggles here, and but we bind together to make things happen. We have a lot of plans that we want to put out there for the residents, and to make this a greater place for the kids. We have plans for that. You know, we have a lot of things that we hope to do, and we can't do it alone. We need the residents' help in order to do it. So when we put it out there, we just want to be for everybody. You know, for the kids, for the adults, and for everyone included. And we thank the management here at Westside for working with us, Todd, and everyone else. And so as we go along our journey here, just be patient with us and know that we're working for the residents. And we thank you, and have a blessed day.
No, excuse me. Hello, everyone. My name is Cassandra Bennett. I am the secretary of the Tenants Association. It's known as Tenant. I've been here for 15 years. And as part of the council, I want no more than to see the tenants advance and have our property management and the people that are over Westside Courts just treat the tenants with respect. And together, just the tenants come together and love each other and embrace each other and look out for one another. You know, without a team effort, we have nothing. Because together we stand and divided we fall. So I just want to say that I'm thankful to be able to stand before you today, and in hopes that the tenants will appreciate the new overface that we have, the new facelift, because it is a facelift. And it looks beautiful, I must say that. It looks really nice, you know, but there's still work to be done. And as long as the tenants take care and work together, we can make things happen. I look forward with the rest of the team to make things happen around here and away from here. You know, I embrace change, not only here at Westside Courts, but outside of Westside Courts, because nothing matters than the quality of life. Your rights to privacy, your rights to respect, your rights, period. So with that, I just want to say thank you.
Well, I don't think I could say it any better than our last couple of speakers did. As Mayor Breed said, though, this is a partnership, owners, residents, and the city. And our partner in owning this development now and hopefully pretty much forever, Tabernacle CDC, led by someone who first was just a partner and now has become a friend, the Reverend Dr. James McCrae, who himself has a long-time history as a pastor in the Western Addition. Reverend McCrae?
Mr. Whitty, thank you very much for that very kind introduction. And I noticed that he introduced me as Reverend. That changes what I was going to do just a little. I would like to ask all of the related team, if you're here, stand up. And there are others up. All of the Tabernacle team, if you're here, stand up. All of the FRH team, would you stand up? Reverend Banks, come on down. You know, they're working. I think the others that I wanted to thank have been thanked. The city, the bank, the community. But I would now like to ask all of us to stand up. And I'd like to ask the leaders to come back and stand right here a minute. And turn around, and I want all of us just to extend our hands towards these leaders in our community. And just in our own way, wish them strength, courage, and then my favorite, peace. Because if they have peace, they can extend hope. And what we need today is hope. What this project and the others in the community are about is extending hope. This, the first African-American built facility, primarily in San Francisco, for African Americans, way back, has been brought over into the 21st century. Hope. Related, and the city, and the community, and the banks have found a way to put together a package that will enable such a venture to come to reality. Hope. And along the way, organizations have been created, like Tabernacle, like FRH, that now have a unique quality and ability to carry the hope on. Thank you, San Francisco. I'm so glad to be able to go around this country and say, I'm a native. We got a lot of problems, but we are struggling to keep hope alive as the changes of this 21st century bombard us. Leaders, thank you, because your job moves the hope on. And thanks to each and every one of you.
I am now really happy to introduce your Supervisor, Vallie Brown. Again, someone who doesn't really need an introduction in this community, who's been active in this and the communities in District 5 for really decades, bringing a level of experience and commitment that you don't frankly often see in City Hall. Among other things, while our mayor was supervisor and Vallie was her top aide, they pushed forward a policy that enabled residents who are already here to have a priority to stay here in new affordable housing. So please join me in welcoming Supervisor Vallie Brown, who we have to help stay as supervisor. Remember that in the next year.
Hello, everyone, and thanks for being here. And I just reminiscing a little when then Supervisor Breed had won the election. She said, "Vallie, I need you to come back down to this office and work for me." And I did. And what was interesting is she said, we all said, "What's your priorities, Supervisor Breed?" At the time, she said, "My #1 priority is public housing." We said, "What's your second priority?" "Public housing." "What's your third priority?" "Public housing." And after the third time, we all like, we get it. Public housing is your priority. And soon after that, we were out knocking doors in public housing. We came over to Westside Courts. You know, it's the second oldest public housing in the city. We walked, we talked to residents about their situation here, what they were thinking, how that they, you know, how did they feel about living here? Everybody was grateful, but also we realized this needs work. This complex needed work, it needed rehab. And when then Mayor Ed Lee came in, he talked about RAD. And one of the things that I was really passionate, and so was Mayor Breed, is if we're going to rehab and we're going to completely change and make it better, that when we build housing or rehab housing, there is no displacement. And that was something that really we felt strong about. No displacement when you're building housing or rehabbing housing. Because as we know, and many people that live here, this community here is the heart of this area. They are the ones that have been here, have raised and made this community what it is, this really strong, heartfelt community. So there was no way that anyone could move or could be moved out and displaced. And when I became supervisor, that was one of the things, first places I visit here was Westside Courts, to look at what was happening to the rehab, to talk to residents, because I felt we have to make sure that we save this wonderful asset, and we have to make sure that our residents are safe. And so I'm just really proud to be here today as your supervisor and say that what's one of my priorities? I'll take public housing. Yes. So thank you, everyone. And I hope you get to walk around and just look at this. It's absolutely beautiful. Thank you.
So Mayor Breed made reference to all of the partners. The Mayor's Office of Housing, Kate Hartley and her staff are here today, provided a lot of money and, let's just say, moral support. But Bank of America has had an outsized role in this RAD program, not only in Westside Court, but in every development in the city, providing virtually all of the debt and equity financing. And I think the total of financing is up in the $700 or $800 million range, which is really pretty remarkable when you think that one institution has been responsible for that. So with that, I'd like to call to the podium Liz Minnick, an executive with Bank of America in the Bay Area.
Thank you and good night. Are we on? Good. There we go. Thank you and good afternoon, everyone. Oh, I can talk really loud. I can probably do it without it.
Vibrating, I think. There.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much. And Bank of America is so pleased. It was actually $2.2 billion in financing. So when you think about the rental assistance demonstration and the redevelopment of our public housing within this amazing city of San Francisco, Bank of America was so excited to be able to step up and again provide that commitment of the $2.2 billion. Just to put it in perspective, we refinanced $4.5 billion around the country, and 2.2 of it came right here in the city where we were founded. It is so amazing to be able to be in developments like this beautiful Westside Courts, see the rehabilitation, meet the amazing residents. Oh, there we go. And again, we are so very, very happy to be a part of it. We'd like to continue the thanks with the mayor's office, with our supervisors, with Kate and her team at the Department of Housing, and all of our wonderful Bank of America teammates that made this possible. Thank you so much.
How often does a state official come to a local event like this? Fiona Ma has a long history as a San Franciscan of serving this city as a supervisor in the State Assembly, in the Board of Equalization, and now as the recently elected treasurer of the state of California. And just so you know, it's the treasurer who allocates all the tax-exempt bonds and low-income housing tax credits that finance this and other projects like it. So she's like a really good person to know. So it's my pleasure to introduce a very good friend, State Treasurer Fiona Ma.
Thank you so much. It's my honor to be here. Some of you know I started out as a district representative to John Burton back in 1995. And back then, you know, I was just learning, and many of the people that I was working with are still here. The Reverend McCrae, Reverend Townsend, Reverend Amos Brown, Todd Clater, as well as Gerald Green are still here, and we are still here, right? Still here. And then to the new leaders, our dynamic mayor, London Breed, as well as our supervisor, Vallie Brown. Thank you for continuing to lead us here in San Francisco. And I've been living here in San Francisco for 30 years, but Bill Whitty was actually here longer. And he was one of the senior consultants, advisors to Dianne Feinstein when she was mayor. And his commitment to low-income housing, bar none, is like one of the best examples of what developers should be doing, could be doing, and need to be doing more. And to the Westside Courts Tenants Association, welcome to politics. I'm just telling you, you are gonna get so busy. Everyone's gonna be calling you, lining up, sending you text messages and emails, complaining. So welcome, welcome. And, you know, my prior job was I was the tax collector on the State Board of Equalization. Nobody likes this tax collector. Nobody wants to call me, and when they do, they have a major problem. Now that I am your state treasurer, I have money. And I have grants and bonds and loan programs. And I am just so honored to be here today working with all of you. I have to tell you, our TCAC and SIDLAC, because of folks like Bill Whitty, we are going to revamp those two agencies. We want to be proactive and forward looking and also constituent oriented. And I had a meeting with them yesterday, and we talked about the conditions at some of these properties and how some of these management companies are not doing their job. Well, we're putting together the list of the good actors and the bad actors. And those that are bad actors are not going to get any more tax credits moving forward until they clean up their act. We also talk about displacement. When these applicants come before us at TCAC and SIDLAC, that's one of my questions. If you were going to renovate and rehab these units, where are the tenants going to go? And that also is important. And then also, you know, making sure that we are a one-stop shop. So when developers come to us and they have projects, we want to help. We want to put together the deals with you instead of, thank you very much, you don't qualify. Click. Right? We want to say, you don't qualify for 9%, but how about 4%? How about if you put housing along with a daycare or food co-op or a senior clinic, right? All these things we have the money for in the treasurer's office. So I just want to say I am open for business. Call me anytime. We want to be part of the solution. Thank you very much.
There was, of course, a lot of work done to get this development to the condition it is now in today. We hope to keep it that way. And there is a bricks and mortar side and there's a people side. On the bricks and mortar side, I want to acknowledge a few people. First of all, our own staff at Related, particularly Lisa Grady, our project manager. Lisa. And our property management team, one of the good ones, I like to think, our regional director, Danny Rivera, and site manager, Shamika Rochelle. And two people that we've worked with a long time on a lot of developments and are going to hopefully continue to work with a lot more. First of all, Bob Nibby, the president of Nibby Brothers, the general contractor. Bob. They had to work with the community, with some local subcontractors to get to where we are today. And Mimi Sullivan of Saida Sullivan, the architect who labored with us, we were talking earlier about making sure we hopefully got just the right colors on the new building, and hopefully the residents will tell us if maybe we need to fix that. So thank you, Mimi. But it's not just about bricks and mortar. And early on, working with Tabernacle, my friend of 100 years, Reverend Arnold Townsend, who you'll hear from in a moment, and his partner, Gary Banks, it was about this has to work for the residents. And I say to you today that I hope and expect that 5 and 10 years from now, you'll hold us to this standard. This isn't just about finishing the project. This is starting the project. So Gary, Arnold, Todd, and everybody, thank you for that. To conclude the program now, I think it is particularly fitting that my friend, Reverend Arnold Townsend, come up and lead us in maybe a little bit of prayer. I mean, I don't know that anybody speaks for the Western Addition better or longer than Arnold. Arnold?
Thank you, and it's just wonderful to see everyone. And let me say a couple of things real quick. I know that you all are sitting looking at me, and that what you're really thinking, you know, I've been last on the program before, and when you're last on the program, you know that everybody in the office really just wants you to hurry up. So I am going to do my best to hurry up. Let me say but a couple of things. I'm glad you mentioned Bill, the staff here, because now I don't have to. I was going to do it. It was some outstanding work going on. We had to be tough to get it done, but everyone did their job, played their role. Bill and I, like he said, we go back a very long ways. He's not quite as old as I am, but he's close. He's close. And really, you know, we knew each other around the times of the Feinstein days and the Moscone and Agnos days. But where we kind of really got to know each other, we actually played basketball together a few times. And whether you know it or not, or whether you think he looks like it or not, Bill used to have a pretty good little point guard game. Back in the day, pretty good player, you know, East Coast. He played East Coast style, you know. They don't do much outside shooting, but they can go to the hoop pretty good. He could go to the hoop pretty good. So he called me and said, Arnold, I'm doing some work in the Western District. I'm coming back to town to do some work, and I need you to come help me. I said, Bill, I'm flattered, but the days of me coming into the office at 9 o'clock, that's over. I'm an old man. And he said, no, I just need your help, you know. And really, he didn't tell me the truth, because he kind of told me it's part-time, you know, you won't have much to do. But he was generous, and that roped me in. And so I came back, and I'm really grateful that I did. I finally did something smart after all these years of living. I said, you know, I've gotten older, Bill, and I don't do much heavy lifting. And I got a younger partner of mine, friend and associate, my younger brother, and I need to have him come on the project. And so he said, who are you talking about? I said, Gary Banks. He said, well, I don't really know him, but we can talk. And Gary came on, and it is without question one of the most brilliant things that I have ever done. I'm serious. What Gary put together here and at Pitts Plaza, the services team, which hasn't been mentioned a lot today, but the people who work directly with the residents, dealing with problems they have, and I mean things you wouldn't think of, but everything from child support, helping people that are having child support issues, trying to get people barrier removal so people can get jobs and go to work, helping with GEDs, driver's license, you name it. These people did it. It wasn't necessarily what they came on and were told to do, but he put together a team, Danielle Banks, who kind of manages things, and then Darlene was here, and Robin Jackson, and now Kiana, who are at this project. He put together people who didn't look at the job description, but when a problem came through the door, they set out to solve it. And they have been absolutely brilliant. And if I keep on talking about them, I'm going to get emotional, because I love seeing people uplifted. So let me just say this to the residents here. You know, we can all come in, all these people that have been mentioned all day and been before you, this development team. We can come in and build you a house. We can do that. We've done that. But it takes the people inside the house to make it a home. That's your responsibility. But the point I'm making is, do what you have to do so that you have a decent home to live in. And Dr. McCrae was right. Your number one priority for you, your children, your grandchildren, your neighbors, is peace. You want peace at home. Because when I get tired of all the cacophony out in the street, I go home. May not be anybody there but me, but I'm not going to have trouble out of anyone. So go there. So as we adjourn and there's food back there, I assume, I sure hope so. Why don't we do this? Whatever your discipline may be, whatever your culture requires, your faith culture, if you're not attached to anything that you believe is greater than you, then I'm going to pray for you to my God. But whatever name you may call, whatever name you may call God, do it now. and let's just ask blessings upon this event. We ask for thanks for this event and blessings upon the food that we're about to receive, that it will nourish us, but not only in body, but in mind and spirit, that it will, and that spirit will not rest until it gets the amount of love out of each of us that it needs. And let everyone say amen. Amen. Thank you.
Well, first of all, Arnold, thank you for dating me. But where I come from, East Coast style is a compliment, so I'll take that. But Arnold, you're right about that. Arnold, you don't get the final word. Todd Clater from Tabernacle has been involved in the bricks and mortar, the people side, and everything in between. He's been with us from the beginning. He's helped keep everything together and is going to continue to do that. Todd?
Good afternoon. Well, I guess we're still in the morning, so I'll make this quick so we can get on to the afternoon. First off, thank you all for being here. I want to acknowledge Mayor Breed, Supervisor Brown, and State Treasurer Fiona Ma for their remarks and participation in this momentous occasion. Well, I had a whole thing, mapped out about who I was going to mention and recognize this morning, and I've really become so engaged in what everybody else has said and their acknowledgments of the key players in this project that I'm not sure there's a whole lot more I can add. What I will say is that this project has been a 3-year saga, and it has involved many planning and community and team meetings at various levels that have made it possible for us to celebrate today. I like to refer to the history of this property as a World War II era construction complex. And while the mayor noted that, it takes a village to build a community like this, what I want to add is that it takes an army to modernize a World War II era concrete block set of buildings and grounds. And we had a fantastic team, to execute this task. First off, I want to invite Lisa Grady up to the podium. She's been the voice of reason when it comes to decisions around the redevelopment of this property. And I have to say, throughout our ups and downs, together, we've been able to make the lives of the residents better, and expect that this is not just a statement about what we can do for today. It's a statement about what we intend to do for the generations ahead. And so what I want to impart to you is that our relationship, has grown not just from work here at this property, but also at Robert V. Pitt. So it's been quite a journey, and I want to, embrace Lisa for all she's done. I also want to acknowledge some of the ground troops that have made this project a success. In particular, with respect to engaging the residents, I want to acknowledge the FRH team, some who have moved on and some who are new to the property. But as was noted earlier by Reverend Townsend, Darlene Roberts and Robin Jackson were very essential in enabling us to meet the residents where they are and to help them grow and embrace change, because this is a big change. Also, I want to acknowledge Alonzo Torres and the maintenance team. Their work is largely unseen until you actually come back to the property after they have made their mark. It's really a statement to their commitment to this property. I want to thank our relocation specialist. That woman has had the probably the most arduous task of all, helping residents relocate to temporary corridors and all of the preparations that are necessary to get them out of their old units into temporary units and then back into their original unit. That's Jessica Garlip. Is she here today? Maybe she didn't make it, but anyway, kudos to her. Yes, she deserves a round of applause. There are a couple of key residents that I want to recognize for prevailing with us. One is the former Tenant Association president, Emma Casey. Emma was really my voice of the community because she never failed to pull my coattails and to beat me down about what I should do and what I need to do more of. And so Emma is really a champion for this community, and I appreciate all of her service. I also want to recognize the work of Randy Walton, who spoke earlier. He's now the treasurer. He was the vice president and has been the coordinator of the food bank for these past 3 years that we've been here with this project. And let me tell you, having to move the food bank from one unit to another and coordinate, deliveries and make sure that folks get food who aren't always able to attend the food bank when it's open, it's a monumental task. And I have to say, he has been steadfast in his commitment to seeing to it that people have the food that many rely on, for their sustenance. And he continues that work, and I'm looking forward to him and the council and community to improving on that. Now that we have a new community room, we're looking forward to them moving the food bank there and operating well into the future. So thank you, Randy. So there's some design and construction folk that need recognition this morning as well. You heard Mimi Sullivan mentioned earlier, and her crew at Saida Sullivan design firm. And I also want to acknowledge the other design team members, including Dan Morris of Merle Morris, our landscape architect, who did a fantastic job, as you can see, let's just say breaking up some of this concrete. You wouldn't believe what a concrete jungle this was, but now it looks like people live here. So that's a tribute to a lot of the thought and effort that was put in by Dan and his team. Also, I want to acknowledge Alan Burr with Murphy Burr Curry, our structural engineer. So listen, if you've ever dealt with a World War II era building, you know his work was cut out for him, because it's a lot of concrete that had to be penetrated and worked with and overcome over these years. Then I want to also recognize, boy, I tell you, NIBI Contractors is a San Francisco treat. I just can't tell you how proud we are of having them be our contractor. They've been responsive. They have not only been responsive to the developer, they've been responsive to the residents. I mean, residents have stopped them in the middle of, you know, a hammer and saw activity to help them overcome whatever little, you know, nuance needed to be addressed. And I appreciate them. And I want to just mention Kieran Daly. I think he's here. Did I see Kieran? There he is. He's a brand new dad. And so I'm glad he could make it. And then I also want to recognize our the guy, you know, who keeps all the contractors, workers in line, Jim Galloway. And Jim is a fantastic man. He's also the supervisor that worked with us at Robert B. Pitts. And then, of course, Colby Newell. Is Colby? Yeah, there he is, back there, all skateboardish. That man, you know, didn't go home sometimes at night, just keeping things going and making sure things got done right. Then I want to acknowledge Devin Denman, who was the construction management staff person with Construction Management Associates, and she was the person who was looking over the contractor's shoulder over these years. So thank you, Devin, and her partner, or boss, I should say, Harvey Mendoza. So with that, I just want to conclude with, this is only the beginning, folks. We are continuing to transform lives here at Westside Courts. We will continue with our computer literacy courses sponsored by the city's Office of Digital Equity. And we have Alex Hahn here, who's joined us from, who heads up that office to provide the not only free internet access for our residents, but also courses together with CTN, the service provider who is providing training to the residents on basic computer literacy, internet access, and advanced courses in computer training. So we're really excited about that, and we are also going to continue to look to FRH and Gary Banks and Joe Antoinette Hopkins and Danielle Banks as they continue the work of providing job training and placement for our residents. This is about the holistic evolution of this community. And this is the model that Tabernacle and Related are now carrying forward in our work in this city and across the state. And you know, while I got Fiona here, sitting here, you know, with her rapt attention, yes, we will be calling you, because this very point of adapting the rules to the folks out here doing the work, that is music to our ears, because that has been the impediment. If you gotta, you know, check all these boxes that fit into certain protocols, that's gonna eliminate a whole lot of others who are really capable and willing to do this work. So anyway, I wrap up with that, and Amos Brown told me I said enough, so that's enough. Thank you. Oh yes, and let me mention, we are going to be offering tours starting at say 12:15.
Well, it's actually past 12. How about 12:40?
12:40. So you can grab a drink or a bite and meet us just over at this table to my left, if you care to join us for a tour at 12:40. Thank you.